All right, real quick before we get into this video, I just want to let you all know that I'm going to be at the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan Summer Meetup June 5th and the 6th, along with a bunch of other Tesla creators and people from within the community. The first link in the description is going to be where you can buy tickets, along with checking out the itinerary, everything that's going on. So if you're in the area, you want to stop by and say what's up, or turn it into a nice little weekend road trip. I'm going to be road tripping up from Kentucky, so that's about 7 or 8 hour drive. Then hope to see you there. Like I said, first link in the description.
The Tesla Model Y, we all know what it is. One of the best-selling cars in the world for what, like 3 years running now. It's constantly trading blows with big household names like the RAV4, the Camry, Rogues, Equinoxes, Explorers, the list just goes on. But why, or should I say how? How has a car that didn't even exist last decade now just taking everyone's lunch money? And make sure you stick around to the end, as we'll be discussing about the only reason you shouldn't buy a Model Y, but it doesn't apply to everyone. First up, the price, starting at $39,990 for the standards and $45,990 for the premiums, barring any state incentives now that the federal tax credit is gone. Pricing is very competitive. The average new car sold in the US today is right around that $50,000 price point. You would need to purchase the top-end premium all-wheel drive to match that. And for it to be more expensive, you would need to get the highest trim, the Performance. And even that at about $58,000 is honestly a deal, because now you're comparing it to other performance SUVs where the price just starts going crazy. Sub $60,000 for a compact SUV that can sprint the standing quarter mile in the mid to low 11s with a warranty. That's a pretty good deal. RAV4 start at $31,900 for the base LE and Rogues around $29,500 for the base S. So yes, the Model Y is more expensive, but then when you stop and you calculate in the no maintenance, no fuel, and then all of a sudden they start costing the same per month, yet the Tesla was a more expensive car. One of the best things about owning a Model Y is that I really just pay the car note and the insurance. Like there's nothing else. Like there's not that, oh, I'm coming up on another 3,000 miles, got to get an oil change or need a new filter or this and that. It's really just your car note and the insurance. Your electricity bill goes up a little bit, which we'll talk about here in a second, but that's really it, which I guess just leads us into the next reason, the non-existent maintenance and very low ownership costs. I'm not joking when I tell you that I'm 5 years in driving Teslas, yes, multiple different ones, but I always put at least like 20,000 miles on them. Plenty of time to find out real life maintenance costs if I was driving a gas car. But yeah, with these Teslas, it's just nothing, excluding some wiper blades, windshield wiper fluid, AC filter, and some tires. And the tires is just because I'm the type of person that likes to have a winter and a summer set. I do not, or correction, I have not ever actually used the money that I've put back for maintenance on maintenance. I almost always just use it to help pay off the car. Then of course there's the fuel cost, but before we get into that, you first need to understand just how convenient owning a Model Y is. Charging. Charging is what makes this car convenient. And if you're new to Tesla or EVs, you may think, wait, shouldn't it be the opposite? Charging is what makes it inconvenient. And I mean, it can, if you don't have home charging. Home charging is like half the reason I bought a Tesla, and now that I've lived with one with home charging is the reason that I will always own one. It completely rewires your brain. No constantly looking at your fuel gauge or being proactive about leaving for work a little early because you got to get gas, or stopping on the way home at night to get gas. There was well, it's not recent, but it recently was like going viral. 2 Chainz, he owns a Cybertruck. The interviewer was like pressing him on like, oh, you own a Cybertruck? And he's like, listen, I don't care about any of that. All I know is that he goes on to like list why he likes it. One of the biggest reasons is because he doesn't have to stop at gas station. He just gets up, it's ready to go. He comes home, plugs in, never has to stop by a gas station. Install a level 2 charger and never have to think about how you're going to make your car go again. I know there are people watching this that have a Tesla with a level 2 home charger that can vouch. It completely rewires your brain, I'm telling you. Home charging means you also get home charging electric prices, which is typically at the bare minimum half the price as public charging, if not less. My local supercharger is around 35 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas at home it's about 7 cents or about 9 cents after taxes and fees. Every time I say like my off-peak rate, people are always like, well, if you calculate in taxes and fees, it's probably double. It's like, what electric company do y'all have where your bill almost doubles because of taxes and fees? My Model Y Performance has around an 85 kilowatt hour battery pack, so about $6 to fully fuel up. So yes, your electric bill will go up. However, it's going to be slightly, and you also have to remember that your gas bill, which is seemingly ever growing with recent gas prices, is now zero. So it really does offset it by a lot. All right, next up, versatility. And keep in mind, while we're going over all this, zero maintenance and very, very low fuel cost. Around 75 cubic feet of total storage space, a very usable front trunk, sub trunk, side pockets, rear seats that fold flat and are fully powered, plus really quick, a hatch style opening, and a tow hitch with a capacity of 3,500 pounds. Then, if you have the performance, you also get V2L or vehicle to load, meaning you have the ability to power things from your Model Y's battery pack. Heading to Lowe's, throw the rear seats down and hook up a trailer. Picking up the kids from school, no problem, you got room. Camping, easy. Though if you are going to be using your Model Y, like actually using your Model Y, I do recommend protecting it with some all-weather floor mats. I've been using these from Tesstuff across all my Teslas for years now. We've made small upgrades over the years, such as an anti-slip backing that doesn't fray your carpet, an outer layer all-weather weave, which means they're going to take anything that you can throw at them and clean up super easily. And then the best part, the XPE core, which means they reject sound coming up through the floor, and as it's an EV with no white engine noise to mask the road noise, well, you can see where this is going. I'll have these linked below, along with discount code YouTube, all caps, for 10% off plus free shipping. I think they're back ordered because the last time I shouted them out, you all bought all of them. Literally all of them. But if you do back order them, it just reserves your set, which will ship in July. But getting back to versatility, if you want to say go on a nice big road trip, bust out some highway miles, it's quiet and comfortable. You could own this car with a spouse and a few kids, or single with no friends. It doesn't matter. If I could only own one car and it had to be the most financially practical one car solution, it would be this car. And not just for everything that we've already talked about. And in fact, the biggest reason is something we haven't even talked about yet: the full self-driving. I feel like a broken record, but man, if you haven't tried FSD, no one is even close right now to Tesla. Is it stupid that they removed normal autopilot to force you to get FSD? Yes. Is it stupid that they removed the ability for you to own that FSD outright and now it's just a subscription? Also, yes. But FSD is really, really nice. And this is coming from someone that loves to drive. For a daily and boring ass bumper to bumper traffic that is not fun and I have no interest in driving that, FSD is a godsend. I can bet most people would rather play on their phone than sit in bumper to bumper traffic, which this is not me telling you to play on your phone, but I'm also not stupid. I'm not one of those people that like just ignores the obvious. People are abusing these level 2 systems. And thankfully, I think Tesla knows that, which is why they're working to make it as safe as possible. Plus, bumper to bumper traffic always stresses me out because I'm afraid that like I'll look away for 2 seconds and then the person that was just starting to pull forward all of a sudden slams on their brakes. Well, FSD is going to see that and slam on its brakes immediately. I have FSD videos here on the channel and there are thousands on YouTube, but make sure you're watching hardware for vehicles, assuming you're going to buy a new Tesla, as that's what your new Tesla will come with, and you'll be able to see what the latest and greatest can do. Supercharging network. Now, this used to hold a lot more weight because it was exclusive to Tesla, but now that it's not as much of a flex anymore, but you know, you still get the best prices along with native integration. Set a route and your car can't make it without dying? No problem, because your nav is going to route you to the nearest supercharger on your route for you to swing by. And with some recent updates, you can now customize your preferred arrival SOC or state of charge, along with whether you want less but longer stops or more but shorter stops. I drove across the country last year and never once did I say, will I be able to make this? To be honest, I wasn't even really paying attention to the navigation. I just put in where I needed to drive to Las Vegas from Kentucky, and the car was like, cool, so do you want to go now or do you want to go later? Like, because we can go right now. You can also get cool stamps if you charge at cool places. I got this one for charging at the Tesla Diner in LA, and there is an entire passport of these along with stats and whatnot. This is just one of those cool things that Tesla has added after the fact, which upon buying your Model Y, you'll realize that happens a lot. Tesla just adding cool things after the fact via over-the-air software updates. I actually saw a video recently where this guy was in his Jesko, like the multi-million-dollar Koenigsegg, talking about how it got an over-the-air software update. He got in it was like 5 minutes, comes back to life, and it has new infotainment stuff, drives better, this and that. He's just going on and on raving about it. And I was like, wow, that's been the norm with Teslas for like years now. You'll get up one day and your car will just have features or drive differently than it did before. When I got this Model Y, and honestly I assume others if they actually fixed it, complained about the brake feeling weird. It was just touchy. The feedback through it just fell off and Tesla updated it. And it's better now. The spring update that I still don't have, but is on the way, will light up whatever side of the car's interior ambient lighting that you've indicated your turn signal if there's a car in that blind spot. Yes, other cars can get OTA updates, but it's never to really add new features. It's more so to fix bugs or to add promise features that half the time you have to take the car into a dealership for them to do the update. So is it even an OTA update at that point? Which, I mean, I get why most manufacturers don't do that, because they'd much rather put the new features behind the new car to get you to upgrade. But with Tesla, as long as your car can run it, you'll more than likely get it. Number 8, the driving experience. This car doesn't really drive like any gas SUV, mainly due to the lower center of gravity, thus leading to a much more planted feel. In a comparable gas SUV, your center of gravity isn't as low, it's more toward the front, more floaty, greater rollover risk, and yes, we're about to mention safety. Then you have the instant torque and acceleration. Even the slowest Teslas are faster than your average car, and when you throw on the instant torque, it's like an entirely different world. And that's not just from a stop, but at highway speeds too. Even though Teslas, excluding the performance versions, do lose some of that steam after 60 miles per hour, the instant torque is still there and more than enough to overtake and easily insert yourself wherever you want. It almost makes you feel safer, I guess, maybe because you're more in control. It's really weird to describe, but if you own a Tesla, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like the ability to put yourself pretty much wherever you want on the interstate or the road. It's so easy because you just put your foot down and boom, you're there. And I haven't even mentioned the one pedal driving, which for a daily that you're going to be sitting in traffic with, you're going to be wondering why no one came up with a way to do this on a gas car. Not only is it regenning back into your battery pack, so putting the energy that would be wasted for you just coasting whenever you don't need to coast, it also saves your brakes because regen doesn't use your brakes to slow you down. And so you're also just never using your brakes either. Getting back to rollover and safety though, a lot of vehicles made today are very safe, but the Model Y is among the most safe. I already mentioned the very low rollover risk thanks to the battery, but you also have advanced crumple zones, massive single piece castings, and a fortified battery pack. 5 stars across the board in every category. You'll see people all the time saying things like, oh, but they don't have physical door releases, this and that, which just isn't true. I do think that they need to redesign the rear physical door release because it's like down in the cubby, and it's really like, if you don't know where it is, you'd think it doesn't have one. I'll actually link one of those like yellow extension straps down below that you can put in there, though be mindful if you have kids, like maybe don't put one in then, but like educate them on where it is. But yeah, these cars are extremely safe despite what the media tries to tell you. You'll quickly learn buying a Tesla that the Tesla name holds a lot of weight, like a lot of weight. Like if a million cars blew up all at once, there'd be a headline that a million cars blew up all at once. But if it was a million cars plus one Tesla that blew up, the headline would say Tesla blows up. Like the Tesla name holds weight, which I think speaks for itself. And finally, number 10, the built-in security in dash cams. Every new Model Y comes with what's called your dash cam and Sentry mode. Dash cam while you drive and Sentry mode while you're parked. No subscription required. It all writes to the physical USB stick in your glove box, which you can take out, put in a computer, and pull the clips from at any time. If you have premium connectivity, then you can live stream the cameras directly to your phone and even download clips. Plus, with a recent update, it now shows the car's speed, pedal actuation, if FSD was on or off, baked right into the clips. I can almost guarantee that within the next 10 years, we'll see almost every single new car being sold have some type of built-in dash cam system through the cameras, simply because of how convenient and useful it is. Actually, I'm going to throw in a bonus right here because I was on Tesla's website looking at how much it would cost me to get a Frost Blue Model Y Performance, because they released black headliner and then they released Frost Blue. And it looks like the interest rates are zero, literally zero if you get a standard Model Y, and 0.99 if you get a premium. I don't recommend the standards. I just recommend jumping up to 5K and getting the premium. I do think that that's the purpose of the standard though. The purpose of the standard is that if you're a fleet, then like, yeah, you're buying the standards, but the standard really gets you in the door and then they walk you up the pricing ladder to the premium. And it's totally working because the premium has so many more features than the standard. It looks like the performance is the only trim at normal rates, so like 5.5. But if you're wanting a deal, just wait. I've seen them run APR deals for the Model 3 performance, and if they're going to run it on that, they're definitely going to run it on the Y. So just be patient if that is something you're interested in. But as for that one reason to not buy a Model Y, if you have a bigger family, like actually a bigger family, I'm talking 3+ kids, the Model Y is probably not going to be big enough for you. Yes, there is the 7-seater, but that doesn't increase the size of the car. That just eats into your trunk for a third row. That if you've ever been in a 7-seater, that third row, if you're anything more than a toddler, is not really useful. There is the Model Y L, but that's not even available in the US. And while we have seen mules of it from people, because I haven't personally been in one, but from people that I know that have, that I trust their opinion on, it is more space than a 7-seater Model Y, but it's not like a ton more space. It's still not a true full size, like 3-row SUV is something in comparison like an R1S. But yeah, if you have a really big household that all needs to squeeze into one car, Model Y may not be big enough. But those are all the reasons why I would personally buy a Model Y here in 2026, while also doubling as reasons as to why I think it's been able to so quickly claw its way up the ladder to become one of the best-selling new cars in the world. It really is a car that I didn't want to like, you know, because they're everywhere. They're mom mobiles. They're kind of like not lame, right? But it's kind of just a daily. But good God, it does all the stuff that a daily needs to do so well that it's hard not to say that it's such a good car. I genuinely don't think there is another car that I would take over this car in this price point for a daily. But yeah, I'll have all my accessories shown throughout this video linked down below. If you are new around here and you want to see more Tesla related stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.